The new Morbius film is on its way, leaving many fans of the MCU and of Spider-Man to inquire just who is Morbius. After all, if you are not knee-deep in the Spider-Man comics, you may not know of this character just yet. To give you a bit more of a reason to take note of him, besides Jared Leto, which honestly actually might not be helping his character right now, I don't know, we'd like to tell you more about just how awesome Morbius is, by counting down the top 10 superpowers you didn't know Morbius had. Now, if you are a huge vampire fan like myself, you might have some guesses as to what kind of powers to expect from this living vampire. Fangs, super strength, super speed, maybe some healing. But keep in mind that just cause you know vampires does not mean you know Morbius and his skill set just yet. And if you do know Morbius, you might not even know some of these ones either. And I know you think he's probably a genius intellect, he is. There's some other stuff he's got going on too. In this list, I'll also be pointing out some differences between our living vampire and the undead kind of vampire. And if you love vampires as much as I do, be sure to show some love by giving this list a thumbs up. Also, be sure to stick around till the end of this list, where I will have some bonus content coming your way. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10. Enhanced stamina. Many people think of superhuman strength and superhuman speed when it comes to vampires, but something that they may forget about in Morbius's case is his endurance. Not only can Morbius go hard and go fast, but he can also play the longevity game. Due to his enhanced physiology, he can give it his all for a prolonged period of time in battle before his body will start to tire and give up on him. This also likely has to do somewhat with him being a vampire, and his body not taking as much damage when it comes to exerting itself. Most people, when they exercise or perform intense physical labor, feel sore because they are in essence exhausting and tearing their muscles, which later allows them to build up their muscles. I would wager though that as a vampire your muscles are either more resilient or flexible to this type of exertion. Number 9. Psyglide. He can glide, he can glide, he can glide. Not fly though, sadly. Once again, this is a power that almost seems to be a combination of something you'd see in a traditional comic book with that of a traditional vampire. Most vampires fly, and yet heroes with telekinesis or energy manipulation can also sometimes use their psionic powers to levitate, glide, and even in some cases also fly. Morbius seems to sit somewhere in the middle of all this super powerful stuff. He is graceful at gliding and a superb jumper, which sometimes gives him the appearance of flying. But if you asked him to just float off the ground and start like zooming around in the sky like a bird or a bat, he would likely just raise an eyebrow at you. Like many people who you would just, if you asked them to fly, like I would raise an eyebrow at you too if you asked me to fly. Be like, what? I can't do that. Number 8. Hypnotism. While there are many ways that scientific vampires like Morbius and classic folklore vampires like Dracula seem to differ in the comics, this doesn't appear to be one of them. Morbius can hypnotize people into doing things, thinking things, and even fearing him. But although you might think that makes him a telepath, it doesn't. I mean, you can interpret it that way, but Morbius needs something specific in order to make this power work. Eye contact, which is more in line with traditional folklore when it comes to vampires mesmerizing or hypnotizing their victims. Number 7. Can create other vampires. Michael's transformation occurred based on a scientific process. He was attempting to cure himself of his rare blood disorder when one of his treatments accidentally changed him into a vampire. Although it did also cure him as well, so it worked. You would think, based on his origins, that he must be lonely, as perhaps he might be the only vampire in Marvel, as though his transformation was merely a fluke. But it wasn't, but it also was. Because I mean, it kind of was a fluke. It happened by accident. This just isn't true though. Not only are there tons of vampires in the Marvel universe, including Dracula, but Morbius himself can even sire new vampires. In fact, during a fight he accidentally transformed Vic Slaughter into a vampire by biting him. So just because he's scientific doesn't mean he can't do that too. Number 6. Resistant to superstitious vampire weaknesses. As a vampire born through science, Morbius is immune to weaknesses that plague vampires. His one true weakness is blood. If he goes without it for a long time, it will make him weak and cause him to lose control and go into a feeding frenzy. However, when it comes to mirrors, garlic, wooden stakes, crosses, holy water, or any of the other traditional superstitious weaknesses, Morbius holds immunity. Although he appears supernatural, his vampirism is based in science, which protects him against the more typical vampire tropes. Even with sunlight, he's merely sensitive to it. It's annoying to him and it's unpleasant, makes him a tiny bit weak, but it won't kill him by turning him into dust or anything. Number 5. Shapeshifting. A power that we haven't really seen used very much by Morbius since the 1990s. Shapeshifting is a power that Morbius appears to have, but it takes quite a bit out of him. He obviously can't do it that much, unlike more traditional vampires who seem to be able to do this with ease. Snap of a finger, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Morbius has been using this ability to turn to ooze to avoid devastating blows clothes in fights, and to alter his appearance, though obviously not as much as transforming into a bat, or bats, plural, as you'd expect from most classical vampires. It's not really Morbius's thing. He's not a bat guy. Kinda looks like a bat though, so there you go. Number 4. Enhanced senses. Some vampires based in pop culture experience enhanced senses after undergoing their transformation, though not all do. But Morbius is one of the vampires that could be thrown in with the super sensitive. I actually often think his enhanced senses might also have to do with his intolerance or sensitivity to light. Mostly, however, it seems that his sense of hearing, sense of taste, and sense of smell come into play more than anything when it comes to it being a benefit, a power. He has been shown to hear enemies approaching even before venom could. When it comes to tasting, he can taste things in your blood, like drugs, and identify them. But he can also taste things in the air, like monsters. Gross. And his sensitive smell has also allowed him to track down both people as well as traces of blood, similar to a shark. But you know, not underwater. Unless he's done that underwater, and then I guess very similar to a shark. Number 3. Claws. Of course, you would expect as a vampire that Morbius has fangs, and you'd be right, he does. He even uses them sometimes in fights, and not just to, drink other people's blood, but he also has claws too. Retractable claws. So while you might spot them sometimes in the comics, you might later wonder where the heck they went, and that's why. They protrude from his fingertips and have been shown to be sharp enough to easily cut through flesh. So watch out, especially being so close to his hands and his fingers. That sounds like it just might be an infection waiting to happen if Morbius forgets to wash his hands. Though he's a doctor, so he probably washes them. I don't know why I'm looking at my hands like I haven't washed them. I wash my hands, just so you guys know. Number 2. Hollow bones. A weird thing about Morbius is apparently his bones are hollow. This, in and of itself, actually grants him many superpowers. It helps him be super fast and agile, and also likely makes it easier for him to glide and jump around. It sounds like it would also make him very fragile as well, but I guess what his bones lack, his muscles make up for, because we already know he's super durable, so I don't know. Morbius can definitely take a hit, but he can still pounce around a room quickly and dexterously. So I guess hollow bones for the win? Sounds like it would be a painful part of the transformation too, especially if he wasn't under an anesthetic. It would be like donating bone marrow, but you could feel it, and you just kept going until you donated all of it. And just so you know, if you donate blood marrow and you don't get an anesthetic, it's apparently not very pleasant. So I've heard, I've never done it. Number 1. Resurrection. To say that Morbius has a healing factor is in some ways an understatement. He has actually used said healing factor not just to recover, but also to come back from the brink of death itself, multiple times. Whenever Morbius dies in the comics, it's like we're reminded that he is known as the living vampire. Living. And he often has a tendency to spring right back to life in rebuttal to what we assumed would be an undoubted death. Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. I hope you enjoyed this list and learned lots of fantastic facts about Morbius's powers. What are you most excited about when it comes to the new Morbius film? How do you feel about it so far? Are you a Morbius or a vampire fan? What is your favorite kind of vampire? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Newest Mutants Part 2. Save your Triggs comments. Triage will return when they need him to. I hope so, because that death just seemed very anticlimactic for him. Mohammed Kohli clarifies, okay, so just to be clear, Amanda has a thing for Hijack. Just making sure. Lol, love you, girl. I definitely have a bit of a thing for Hijack. I like cars. Fun fact, I actually grew up spending a lot of time around them at racetracks because my dad actually is a race car driver. I like pretty cars and cars that go fast. So Hijack could definitely hijack my heart for at least a little bit if he wanted to. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below to have your thoughts shouted out in a future list. This has been Top 10 Nerd and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube. Okay, the end. And if you... I'm just making up words, I'm not even reading this. Sometimes I feel like I don't even read the teleprompter, I just say words till they're right. He's a graceful glider.